Hello, friends. Thank you very much for tuning in. Today, we have a special guest for the next episode for From Ordinary to Extraordinary. I like to welcome Hassan Trad, a talent management professional who is joining us to share his journey with us in this episode. So, I will just give you a quick insight about Hassan. Hassan currently heads the talent function with Finance House. He has rich experience in the functions of learning with the uh, teaching, especially from a CIPD perspective. He is a fellow of various chartered institutions, like being a fellow of Chartered Institute of Personal Development, um, fellow of Chartered Marketing Institute, and he brings huge what we call insights in the current talent world. So without further ado, I appreciate Hassan. Thank you for joining us today. And if you can just give some insights on what you do right now, it will be definitely helpful for our audience to start with.
Sure. Thank you, Phoebe, for the nice introduction. Just a bit of in regards to the marketing bit. I love marketing, but it's a management institute. We don't want the Chartered Marketing Institute to get upset about it. It's a chartered
So,
fellow for the Chartered Management Institute. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode. I do hope that you will find us informative and you don't find me boring. We're providing a lot of information. So my name is Hassan, as Phoebe rightly said, and I am heading the talent management now at Finance House Group. It's a group of financial company in the UAE. I've been doing what I am doing for more than 15 years. Not too old, still young. And I just finished recently in September last year 2 decades of a professional career. So that's the 20 years. Also, it's a sign that I'm old, but I'm still okay. I'm still good. My specialty is talent management, HR strategy. I have a passion of lecturing or assisting young professionals in the HR field and provide help and support in the context of HR. Uh, Yes, as Phoebe rightly said, I'm a fellow chartered for the CIPD. CIPD is the HR school. It's the largest HR school in the world. I'm fellow for the Chart Management Institute. I'm also fellow for the Institute of Leadership Management. They are all UK. I've done a couple of neuro-linguistic programming, so I'm a master in neuro-linguistic programming as well. I am an assessor for SHL, member of British Psychological Society. I did my postgrad in Leicester University, and I did my bachelor degree in Teesside University. And I enjoy talking. So if Phoebe will not stop me, I'll be talking until tomorrow.
thank you, Hassan. Thank you for giving us a bit more insight. So let me start with this question. So let us. Can you take us back to the early days of your career? After your studies, what was that search for job look like at that point of time? And what was that professional experience? I recently saw the picture which you posted, which was related to your internship, I think, or first work, long time
Right.
back. Tell me more.
Okay. Here is an interesting story. Probably, if my mom watching will remember that. So, I was working as a part time in a hotel. It's like doing everything from waiter to whatever there is a chance to make money, I am in at that time. And then someone offered me a job, said, well, can you do this part-time job in finance or basically in cost controller in a company for a restaurant? Like I have a lot of restaurant chains back in Lebanon. That was 2004. And I said, how much you gonna pay me? And they said, well, 75% less than what you are making now. I said less? I said, yeah. Talked to my mom. Said, how are you gonna live? You know, you are making good money now. You're gonna just go to earn, very $200 at that time. I said, okay, but this is an office and it looks like a nice career and stuff. They said, okay, just we'll try you. Long story short, I started with them after 3 months. I become a permanent employee and I started working officially in the cost controller division in a company that manage restaurants. So finance. That was far from HR. Then after, and it was very challenging. It was like I am coming, I know nothing about finance, I know nothing about numbers, I know nothing about Excel, I know nothing about computers and nothing. Sitting on the mezzanine floor, or actually it was B under one level under the, you know how it is in hotel. Our office was in a hotel, so you are in the ground floor. You just go down and sit in a small office, and as much as it was difficult, it was enjoyable. It was something that really sparked a lot of things in my mind. And then, as I reflect now, then I'm telling you, it was a great eye opener for me. I spent with them 3 years, 7 months, and then I moved into HR. It was kind of an opportunity to work as in the HR department in the telecommunication. At that time, I decided to move outside my original country, which is Lebanon. And I went to Kuwait to a telecommunication company to work in the HR department as in the L&D division as a cost controller, or to take care of things related to training budgets and training programs and so on and so forth. So this is just as in a nutshell how I started.
Okay, thank you. So there is a turning point which you mentioned, that you moved to the HR. So what was it like to move from a financial function to the HR? What are some of the, it is a significant shift. What led to that uh, change? Was there any incident, any story behind that?
Yeah, of course. So uh, finance is all good. It's just uh, it doesn't suit my personality. So I'm an outspoken person. I'm an extrovert. I like to socialize. I like to meet people. I like to go around, to talk, to work in a field where there is a lot of interaction with people, and just sit in on my desk, crushing numbers, uh, putting data in the system, um, talking finance the whole day, locked in an office. It really didn't spark anything. Yeah, I was doing okay. I was enjoying it, making money and career, but it didn't show what are my qualities.
Mhm.
As
Mhm.
we, as I moved to HR and I've seen uh, uh, the great stuff that they were happening there, and that was a huge turning point because when I moved into HR, I moved into a big HR. We're talking about a huge number of employees, a huge organization. It was in telecommunication, 10,000 employees, massive department, over 40 people, so many division, and that was a shock for me. I said, but is this HR? And I'm coming from a company that we had one personnel, we have one HR manager, and that's about it. And that interest, okay, or that kind of culture, in addition to a quote or to a dear friend told me at that time, he said, Hassan, here you will see something you never seen before. I was like, okay,
Mm.
what I'm gonna see? I've seen. I was working. I know it all. And in fact, he was absolutely right. What I've seen in that particular organization, I have never ever saw before, and that was the spark. That was the fire that that I had at that particular time, and I wanted more and more and more and more and more.
That's interesting. So, and I have seen that you are a continuous learner with various ways in which you pivoted with various certifications. So now tell me the stories which you have. For example, how was the story behind the CIPD? How was the story behind the Chartered Management Institute? So, I think someone might have advised. So, what are some of the roles which your mentors or your co-workers or your parents or someone, how did they influence and shape you in that space?
Okay, so let's start with I am not the best school. I am not the best kid in the school. I am not someone who has. I'm not an A student, right?
Okay.
But if I like something or if I appreciate something, I will do extra well.
Mm.
So, and there is a belief that I learned from my mentors and from that particular organization, and something that impact me personally is uh, every day I have to be better than the person I was yesterday. So tomorrow I have to be better than today, and after tomorrow I have to be better version of myself. And I always associate myself with with people who are better than me in the
Mm.
field of HR. Then I get to know about those people, about their journey, about their education, about their certification. And I use it as a benchmark. And slowly, slowly, I start to build that kind of personal development plan, you want to call it, or a journey in the personal development. The starting point was that I was really interested in the world of HR. I really need to know the ABC. I was
Mm.
exposed to world class people in the HR department, world class managers, world class leaders that really sparked that interest in me. And myself being a person who believe in I want to be tomorrow better than today, I took that commitment for more than 12 to 13 years to become every day a person better than the day before. So I get introduced to the CIPD and I looked, okay, what is the CIPD? It's an HR, how to start, and what is the highest qualification there? And I start to work from an associate, then I upgrade to charter, then upgrade to fellow. I go to the Charter Management Institute, how it is look like, what is required, and so on and so forth. And all my journeys, believe or not, Phoebe, if you ask me now, how did you complete all of that? I will tell you, I have no idea. Because
Mm.
the massive amount of work that was required from me in parallel of my day-to-day work was massive. But what I can tell you is that the enjoyment of what I was doing and how I was progressing made a significant impact on my achievement towards all of this. Two
Mm.
things: I want to become a better person of myself. Second, associate myself with better people, knowing what is the best in the field of HR, assessing, benchmarking, and taking massive action.
Thank you, Hassan. That's interesting, which you said, like, how can I be better than the previous day? How can I be better tomorrow than today? And that is what ordinary actions leading to extraordinary. And I was just speaking to someone, so someone was saying, "What is extraordinary? This is extraordinary." To think, how can I be different and better today? And I think audience who are just joining us, in case you like to ask a question to us, and please share it in the comment section. I will be able to address it if possible today, or we will address it at a later time. So uh, That is interesting, Hassan, to listen to that perspective to which you share. And now I'm sure, as you mentioned, every journey has obstacles, and you may have been challenging experiences within the CIPD process or work-wise, as you mentioned, managing that. So and again, you have been pushed out of the comfort zone at various points of time. So the question is, how did you overcome it? What did you learn from that
That's a good question, Femi. That's a good one. Career is full of obstacles, as well as life. There is nothing that comes easily. We learn in the when we are uncomfortable. We do better when we are uncomfortable. And to be honest with you, frankly speaking, I was feeling uncomfortable at least 10 out of 20 years. Until now, I always also do my best to make myself uncomfortable because this is where the magic happens. Uh, I overcome all of this by being flexible, by being adaptable, by being open for new challenges, by being open for feedback, for constructive feedback, by being a person who believes that having a good constructive feedback from a mentor or from a coach will definitely help me to achieve what I have to achieve. By being resilient, by accepting, by not accepting a no answer. There is always a way or a better way to do things. So it's a completely different tools that or different characters that you need to have to be able to overcome all these challenges because you know you're gonna meet a manager who's gonna be very tough on you. I'm talking tough, which means pushing you, stretching you to get the best out of you. You have you're gonna meet a different culture, people from a different background, different ethnic, different nationality, different way of thinking, and so on and so forth. And you have to acknowledge at one point, Phoebe, that everyone is right, irrespective of what they're saying. That's their model of the world. That's how they think. That's how they are. And it's your job to be flexible, to
Hmm.
digest that information, and it is your responsibility to control yourself on how you're going to respond to that. Because two people, for example, they are having a manager, and this manager constantly pushing them. One, he think that this manager hates him, and the other one, he think that this manager loves him because he is trying to get the best of him. So here it is always about how you see it, how what's your perspective in terms of the way your direct manager deal with it. and
Hmm.
and that's one of the things that helped me. Maybe I have a lot of good faith in a lot of people. I assume the best out of people. It worked for me. It worked for me.
Mm. Thank you very much. So, yeah, that's interesting perspective, which, like, how you see that. For example, how that is helping you to grow in that process. So, thank you for sharing that. I have something to explore along with that. So, as you progressed, like for example, you worked in different countries, and what are some of the um, for example, like quite often when we come out of our own country, we see the world in a differently. How that has shaped your perspectives, if you look back.
Well, it definitely stretch my it make me more adaptable. It make me more flexible. It make me more appreciative. It makes me more open. It makes me more uh, able to look always at the same problem from a different perspective. Remember, Phoebe, when we are thinking at the problem or at the challenge from the same perspective, utilizing what we learn, from our country, from our parents, from whatever culture we are in, we always come. to one conclusion, to the same conclusion, to the same response. Whereas getting exposed to international people, to different countries, to different culture, it makes you, or it helps you basically, because it's always a positive things, in my personal opinion, on become more open, become more a person who could look at the problem from a completely different angles and come up with a completely different solution. Whereas if you were in your country, or if you have your own thoughts, or your own belief, okay, it would be completely different. So it did make me more flexible, more adaptable, more resilient. It helped me a lot, to be honest. It did have a lot of positive impact. I mean, if you ask me, I would advise everyone, if they have the opportunity or the chance to get exposed to multinational culture, to visit different countries, to work with different people. It's just have really an amazing impact on career and on personality. It does shape and gives you a new flavors and a new kind of characteristic that really can be very beneficial on your career and in your life in general.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective, as you mentioned. You become open-minded to
Absolutely,
see
yes.
and yeah, see the different ways of working, which was otherwise not exposed to in our home country at times. When we come out, we see it in a different light, and we see that how that is also helping us in our transition. So thank you for sharing that. There is also one feedback comment which came from Ishwar. This is with regard to the attitude. Like well said, Hassan, the attitude matters the most. So that was something which you touched upon in the previous part. So again, if there are any question to Hassan, please bring it on. Now moving on. So for example, you are seeing from a, right now, from a leadership role, what has been the most important factor, especially in the modern workplace, which is helping um, to inspire as well as guiding others towards growth and success? What are some of the things which you are seeing in the current industry?
See, if you want to talk about leadership, I would just focus on a few points that they meant a lot to me. There are lots of characteristics, and everyone has their own view on that. But for me, number one is the goal. You know, what are you trying to achieve? Where are you taking me? Where are you going? You know, the
Hmm.
end of that tunnel. What is it? Is it bright? Is it dark? What we are trying to achieve here? What is the really outcome of that? And this is something really important to me. The second aspect as well is it's walk the talk. Is basically please, whatever you believe as a leader, walk it through, practice it. I have that kind of opportunity to meet a lot of leaders where really they are very influential. One of their characteristic is they really walk the talk. Whatever they believe, whatever they think about it, they practice it in front of people. They just influence people by their behavior, by really practicing what we believe in. And this is something it makes a lot of sense to me. And last point also, I mean, third point I would mention is you don't have to use one leadership style with everyone.
Hmm.
Everybody require a different life leadership style. Every character is different from one another. A successful leader will deal with me different than how they deal with my colleague, because I have a completely different personality than the others. I might be a person that I need my space, whereas my colleague needs someone with deadline, with the time frame, with deliverables, and so on and so forth. So a successful leader will know basically how to manage different people depending on their characteristic and their personality. So there is no one size fits all. So this is one of the few, one of the many leadership aspect leadership is a huge topic, but this is the things that really means to me a lot.
Thank you very much. Now, in this modern world, like this is the world of artificial intelligence, and there are, for example, students who are completing their studies, moving to their work, and there are sometimes people feeling stuck in their workplace, like due to mergers or maybe due to different reasons within organizational context. So, I just first want to ask from someone just starting out or navigating through these crossroads right now, what advice would you offer? Imagine that someone is starting out exploring a job. What should they be ready to in order to move into a job or their entrepreneurial journey, whatever it is?
See, I'll just, I mean, very good question, Phoebe. Thank you for that. I'll just take a step backward, and I will talk about something that make a lot of sense for people. So, we might have two people. Um, in a class, one person who is an average in mathematics and one person who is excellent in mathematics. Both of them, they undertake a mathematics training course. The excellent person progression probably would be 3 or 4 or 5 times much more than an average person. This is because that person has already a high level of or is competent in mathematics. So my point here is people they it will be great if they can understand what is their strength, what they are
Hmm.
good at,
Hmm.
what's their character, what they like, what they don't like. Are you a person, a people person? Are you a person that you'd like to sit by yourself in front of the computer and work? Are you a person that you like numbers? Are you a person that you like what is your strength, what is your because we fall all the time short in the story of work on your development. You are not good in this, work on it. And my recommendation would be no, start with what you are good at, because this is
Hmm.
your opportunity to excel.
Hmm.
And excellence or extraordinary will make you a different between the ordinary, right? And that will open chance and opportunities for you to progress. So that will give you at least a clarity where to go. So you might find yourself as an entrepreneur person. This is where entrepreneurship will fit and will suit you. Never follow a trend or never follow something that other people have done succeeded. Probably they have done succeeded because they are good at it, right? They are
Yeah.
competent at it. And my point here is that it is very important for people, especially for those who are progressing or they are stuck somewhere, to reassess themselves. How
Hmm.
can we do better? What are we good at? What job, what career will suit us? And this will help a lot. There is no point that after 6 years you stop and say, well, I don't like my job.
Hmm. Hmm.
So this is a turning point that I wish, I went through a long time. I mean, I had the opportunity to go through it, and people helped me to discover my strength. But I always, when I meet students or fresh graduates or people transitioning from school to university or from university to the workplace, I always ask a question: what you are good at? What are your strengths? What is your quality? What you can bring to the table. So this is something that sincerely I'd like really people to reflect on it, and it will
Hmm.
help a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Hassan. That's really helpful. Which you mentioned, build on the strength, whether
Right.
you are whether you are in the stage or whether you are in stuck, and see reset yourself and what can be done differently. So yeah, that is something which probably help lot of us to see and move ahead. So thank you very much for sharing that. Now I know we have a constraint with the time. I have two more questions
No
at,
problem, my friend.
at this point. Now, yeah. So the question is, you know, you mentioned about some of the mentors, some of the people who have shaped your thought process. Is there some words, some philosophies which drives you, which when you are finding maybe in a struggling situation or a challenging situation, these philosophies make you drive forward? Find, is there something like that which comes to your mind, which motivates? It may be something which your parents might have said, it might be something which your teachers might have said, it may be something which your fellow workers might have said. Is there something of that sort?
See, uh, one thing that I follow, and it really inspires me, apart from being a better version of myself every day, is uh, never settle for less,
Mm.
or uh, don't think that I'm thinking of the way that I will put it best for for those who are watching us is there is nothing wrong with average, right?
Yeah.
But there is no need to settle for average.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, because if you've got the skills, the competency, the right mindset, the attitude, the personality, why to settle for an average, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes, and that's a big part of it. Knowing your strength, knowing what you are good at, helps you not to settle to the average.
Yeah, I think that is a fantastic message to wrap this conversation and capture the crux of that.
See, the first book my manager gave me, it was The Secret. So it was Christmas 2007, I think. I had one of my manager. It was really well known in the world of HR, and he gave me a book, The Secret. That was one of the first time I really read a personal development book. And literally, as I go through the pages, I start to reflect on whatever I have done and whatever I am planning to. And every time it reminds me with this kind of thoughts all the time, you know, there is always a better way. There is always a possibility to do something. There is always a different way. There is always a way. There is always something that can be achieved in a way or another. So why to settle? Why just to blame the universe, blame the life, blame everything? There is always a way to move forward. There is always a secret inside you, or as Tony Robbins called it, the giant, awaken the giant inside you. It's a very famous quote that also I appreciate as well as Tony. It does. You have a giant inside you. Just shake it, awaken it. It will wake up.
Yeah, I think this is fantastic, and yeah. So as Hassan mentioned, there is always a different way, and there is always a giant to be awakened, and that is that difference which brings um, from that ordinary we get that extra. So thank you, Hassan, and thanks for accepting this invite today
My
and
pleasure,
joining
Philip.
joining me. We will have to catch up with other conversations at a later stage, but I appreciate your time and thank you.
Thank you so much, Phoebe. Thank you, everyone, for attending. I really hope you found, what we've talked about fruitful, and you can apply it in your daily life, in your career, whatever it is. We're just here to help, to assist, and enjoy the rest of the day. And